Episode 311, Brain Candy Podcast.
311. Also, one of the first concerts I went to.
Sarah's favorite band.
Loved it. That album, 311. I think it's like from... No, I can't remember.
Are they a one-hit wonder?
No, not at all.
Like what, 4-hit wonder?
No, more.
I don't judge. I mean, all you need's one.
I think... and then they had some hits later, I think. Yeah.
Everyone just knows that one.
But... I know every single word to every single song on their like album that I think it was self-titled album. But like, you know, when you have listened to an album so many times that you can anticipate the next song and you like start singing it before. I love it. And I love every single song in that whole, it's often what I listen to when I'm doing like rock climbing or snowboarding because it just feels right.
You want to get pumped.
Yeah. And it was also the first time I ever smelled marijuana and I was like, what is that?
You have a Pavlovian response.
I was like a narc I was like, that is not allowed. They should not be doing that. I was like 15 at the time. I was definitely a square.
What do you think of the recent controversy when, I think it was Jezebel did an article the other day that said Jagged Little Pill sucks, the album?
Excuse me? I am sorry. I beg to differ.
Can you believe? Do you think they were just hoping for like hate clicks? Because everybody loves that record.
And we've already established that You Ought to Know is one of the best go-to karaoke songs that gets everybody singing.
Yeah.
That's another album that I can anticipate the next one.
That's what made me think of it when you said that, because that's the first album I probably knew that wasn't like a greatest hits album or something.
It was definitely Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill, Green Day Dookie, and 311.
Wow.
Yeah, those were my go-to. And also the soundtrack to Get Shorty, which as a 12-year-old when it came out is an odd choice for me, considering it's all like acid jazz and like odds. Like,
well, what was it? You just loved the movie? Or?
No, I didn't even see the movie. I just loved the sound. It's a lot of instrumental stuff, and it's like jazz.
Do you love jazz?
I think my dad was like an award-winning he produced or it was an art director for some documentaries on jazz artists. Like they won an award for one on Thelonious Monk. And so I grew up with a lot of my dad was really into like African American music.
Oh yeah, I remember he teach a course?
Yeah, he taught African American studies in like junior college and stuff.
So funny to me.
I grew up with this like rich cult, like just knowing, and that's what he took us to. We went to all of those, like musical events where we were like the only white people and also the only children there. And it was like, here you go.
It sounds like Rachel Dolezal.
Yeah, well, except I'm not out there. I'm definitely saying I'm white. I'm just, loving the music.
If you heard one of the songs from that album, would you just get down now?
Yeah, and it's what I like to paint to. Like I got this Get Shorty soundtrack, or like my dad got it for Christmas, and then I took it, and I got that the same year. I got a beautiful watercolor set, and I think just the music and like the art came together in one, and I was just like,
were you ever
my happiest memories?
Old enough or whatever? Did the years align where you had cassettes even?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I remember those ones too. Okay. Yeah, Salt and Pepper and Janet Jackson. Oh my God, that's all I listened to. Salt and Pepper and Janet Jackson's
I like
Control.
how you say Salt and Pepper.
Peppa, sorry. Salt and Peppa. I loved that cassette so much that we had cockatiels and I named them Salt and Peppa.
That's cute.
Yeah, and they were eaten by raccoons. Because we left them outside. I don't know why my parents thought that was a good idea, but a raccoon opened the door to the bird cage and ate them. Yeah. Salt and Peppa.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
What?
Yeah, true story.
Why is your life weird all the time?
It's so weird. It's so true. I think I just remember details more. I'm sure people have these weird stories where that stuff happened.
Let me ask you this.
Okay, go.
Are you sure that this is how your various pets actually died?
100,000,000%.
It's not like, we went up to a farm.
No, that's how they died. I remember because we went on like a camping trip and we were only gone for like 2 days. And we put them outside right on our ledge. There was like a ledge that was on our patio, like a bar ledge where you can, put some food or whatever.
Yeah.
And we had the cage on that ledge. And when we came home, I remember like, I got to go check on the birds and not seeing them and having that panic. And my mom was just like, I know what happened. Like,
is it possible though that the raccoon opened the door and they flew out?
that is possible. That is a happy. Oh, I feel
Their
like there may
wings
have
were
been
clipped?
evidence. Oh, and their wings were definitely clipped. 100% wings were clipped.
Okay, well they're definitely
Right, they're
dead.
Yeah. Yeah, we also went on a trip once and left our hamsters at home, like just like
No.
And we didn't know this at the time, but you can't put male hamsters in the same cage together, like they get too aggressive. And each of us kids had one. It was Romeo, Sinbad, and Hercules were the name of our hamsters.
Okay.
Romeo ate the other two. We came back home. The other two were murdered and in parts. And
Murdered.
And the one was looking real full.
Stop
True
it.
story.
Shut up.
Swear. I think
I
people
don't
who
think
had
that's
animals
natural.
have the. I do.
They do this?
That happens. Like we had a friend who had a bearded dragon and didn't know that when the babies, when you have a bearded dragon and it's a baby, it can't kill it can't defend itself against the cricket. You have to kill the crickets first, or give them like freeze-dried
Or
crickets.
what happens?
The crickets teamed up and ate the
No,
lizard.
no.
Hand to God, true story.
Sarah.
Bearded dragon, R.I.P. too.
And didn't you have a dog named like Cheeseburger or
Waffles. Yeah. Dog named Waffles who died because he was epileptic. But that was not my fault. And we picked him up from the pound. Like, I got him at a shelter. And it was week 1 he started having seizures. And he was just... Susie's dying over here. Poor Waffles. R.I.P.
It's just that you had a very death-filled...
I just had animals, and animals die. And, that happens. Circle of life,
I don't know
Sus.
about that.
Well, it is circle of life in all those situations.
No,
Raccoons
it isn't.
eat the bird. Romeo's like, nobody's feeding me. They've been gone for a few days. I don't know. I got to eat these guys.
So you think it was like a survival, not
survival
aggression.
or maybe a little both. I can't say I was inside his little hamster head.
What would it take for you to be a cannibal?
Oh my God, 0, nothing. What? Oh, like how many days of? Oh, that's a good point. Good question. I see where we're going. How many? I feel like this would be an easy decision for you.
No, I was just thinking about it, and I was thinking, I don't think I could
ever
do it.
I don't think I could. I would rather starve, actually.
Yeah.
I don't know. Then those survival instincts kick in, and you have no idea what.
Yeah.
I think it's more. I think there are a few things at play here. Not just the survival instinct, but what happens to your brain when it's been nutrient deprived and you become
the madness of hunger.
Yes,
yeah.
That's it. I think it's more that than So I don't know, because I don't know how I would respond in that situation.
Yeah.
But I'd like to think that I wouldn't eat anybody.
You know how when you're really hungry though, and something tastes so good?
Yep.
Do you think it would be like that?
Maybe. When I was in my like a drugs and alcohol class for school, I really was having a hard time understanding why somebody would do a drug that didn't give them, because a lot of drugs seem like
they're downers.
Yeah, the consequences are like, why would you do that? It seems like it would be so like, what is that? And my professor explained it like, and it stuck with me, and it like I understand this in like a different way. He said, when you go for a long time without eating, and you take that first bite of food, and you go, oh, and your whole body feels better. Like it's like that with addiction, where you get that feeling where like, oh, your whole body feels better, and it like takes over the reward pathway in your brain, where you don't get those feelings from food or from love or from anything like that anymore. You just get it from the drug. And so you have to have it, because it's the same as like having to eat. And I was like, oh, I know that feeling. That is
It's powerful.
Yeah. And so now every time I like have that feeling, I'm like, oh, okay, I have a new level of compassion for, people who have
that are
addiction,
struggling.
because you cannot help it. It's like your body says, I need this.
Well, if you're so hungry and you're thinking about cannibalism, I would just recommend using Instacart.
Oh my gosh, please do. That's much healthier.
Just order what you need, and then it'll show up at your door in as little as an hour or at a time that works with your schedule.
I Instacarted stuff to fill my pantry from Smart and Final. It's right next to our house. To go coffee cups.
Oh, and then I used one.
Yes, you did.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, you did. that you
That's
can
so
thank
funny.
Instacart. Because I went and looked at another retailer for the same thing to buy online. It was like 4 times the price. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, I know they sell for cheap at Smart & Final, but I don't want to go there. Oh, I know, I'll Instacart it. Surprise. Coffee cup for Susie.
Instacart's great. They have a variety of local and national retailers that they work with. So if you want something from Whole Foods or CVS or whatever, then you can just go and pick out what you want. Costco even, I saw.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe they
I
have
know.
Costco. And
yeah, that's
so
great.
they'll be and who wants to go to Costco?
Not me, unless there's samples, unless it's Sunday. Then I'm in. What if you could, like, that would be like a nice perk for the Instacart shoppers. We're like, I'm going to send you on a Sunday so you get the samples. You're welcome.
Because you could probably add a note to it and be like, and get the samples.
Enjoy the samples. Get some glasses and wear them one time through the line and then take them off and go through the line again.
Get the app or go to instacart.com and you can shop for groceries and have them delivered to you. They keep the hot items hot, cold items cold. Try Instacart and get a $10 off your first order. To get this limited time offer, go to instacart.com or download the mobile app and enter our promo code BrainCandy at checkout. That's $10 off your first order today at instacart.com or through the mobile app. And don't forget to enter our code BrainCandy instacart.com or through the mobile app with our code BrainCandy at checkout.
I got the mobile app and I used our code.
There you go.
Yep,
I love
worked
when you
easy.
do that.
I know I do. I'm a big time user of all of our stuff.
That makes me happy.
Yep. And then I just get it for other people.
Yeah.
Just let me just sign you up. Give me your phone.
But they're
Relatives,
always
you know.
happy.
They always.
And I'm sure you have this too, where people will be like, "Do you really like whatever it is?" And
I
you
had a
have to
friend
be
who
like,
spent the night, and she was like, "Do you really?" And I'm like, "Let me take you on a tour through my house of the things that are 100%."
That's what I was gonna
yes,
do.
I totally did that.
Because whenever we were going to have the book club meeting here for our Brainiacs,
Yes.
I was like, they're going to see for themselves
Yes.
that our whole house
Yeah.
is stuff that our
Yep.
partners
Yep.
recommend.
Oh God, and because we only put the good ones through.
Right.
That's what people don't get.
They
We're not
don't.
just like taking any.
I think they do get it. Like the loyal Brainiacs,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
like, no.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it.
Let's get mad about.
Yes, I'm in already. and people don't know this, but I'm drinking wine this episode.
It's wine time.
So
Things are going to get rowdy.
Yup.
What about how NASA
Oh no.
had to cancel their all-female spacewalk because they didn't have the suits?
What do you mean?
They didn't have
Oh.
enough suits for women. Space suits for the women doing the spacewalk. Canceled.
Are you kidding me?
I am not.
That seems like you should have extra uniform. Like, it's essentially their uniform, and like, that's the thing that you go, how many employees do I have? Okay, 20. Okay, so I need to get like 30 uniforms because like stuff happens.
It's like basic managerial.
Really simple. Yeah.
Can you believe it?
And can you imagine how much they've trained and gotten ready for that and prepped? And they're like, the fact that it's a wardrobe malfunction with the women stuff, it also makes me angry. Of course it is. That seems gendered in and of itself.
And the women were actually saying that even if the spacesuits are a problem anyway, because they're not, even the ones that are given to them are really kind of too big and like not ideal.
I feel like they're poorly designed. Like that's something
who's
they need.
doing this?
Yeah.
Bob.
Right.
I don't know, some guy named Bob. I feel
Definitely
like.
a right-handed male. White.
Cisgendered, able-bodied, white, straight man.
Yep.
It's infuriating, and it reminded me of how. Do you remember? This will show my ignorance. Was Sally Ride the first woman? Okay. When she was preparing to go, they were like, "Okay, so we're gonna send some tampons up, and like, how many do you need?" And they thought she needed 100 for 1 week.
This is in direct. What's the word? Like. It's exactly the opposite of, did you see the article that came out or that somebody posted? It turned viral, but it was a guy who was like, let me do the math on how many tampons you actually need.
Yeah.
It's like, and he did how many ounces on average a woman bleeds versus how much a tampon can hold. So you only need 6 per cycle. So it's only this much a year. So they're only paying, whatever. And all the women were like, first of all, fuck you.
Yeah, and he did the math wrong.
Totally wrong.
Yeah.
And then all the female, like the gynecologists or anybody who works in that field was like, Also, there's this thing called toxic shock syndrome where you cannot wear one for more than 6 to 8 hours. It's unhealthy and dangerous. So that's not how it works, dude.
Yeah.
And you think all of us are just getting to that point where we're like, we got to fill it all the way up. I can't change it because I don't want to wait. No!
Right.
You're taking it to the edge. Fuck off.
Well, and this was like the opposite where it's like,
we need 100. What do you
100
think?
tampons.
How much do you think I'm bleeding?
Get to the hospital.
Right.
You have a medical problem.
For a week.
Yeah.
Just hilarious.
And they also thought the women were going to need makeup. They made space makeup.
No.
I should show you the picture.
They made space.
Let me show you it.
Stop it.
It's really funny.
This was one of the things I loved in the book that I read last month for the book club. Stop.
Makeup.
Fuck you.
Like she's going to be putting makeup on in space.
Stop it.
The sad thing is I probably would.
I mean, at least mascara, but
yeah, I mean, lip gloss never hurt nobody.
Oh, they're you know what? They're trying. They're like, we're trying to cater to women maybe, but you know what would be a great idea? Asking the women what they would need. Hey, like, wouldn't it be great to consult with a female when you're preparing to send females into space? Hey, like, also, does nobody have a wife or mother or daughter who's like, guess what? You don't need. I can imagine it's not just one person. They like looked around the room and they're like, how many tampons do you think they use? I don't know, like 50? No, it's got to be more than that. It's probably like 100. Just write 100. Like, nobody came and like.
Nobody.
Pointed them. I can't.
I think she had to eventually be like, look buddies. I definitely don't need 100 tampons. I mean,
oh god!
I'll tell you what, I would not want to deal with my period in space.
No.
So that's a separate.
I feel like the anti-gravity situation would maybe help because I felt like when I swim, it almost stops. Like I've been able to go swimming without any tampon in or anything like that, and it doesn't.
I did not have that luck.
Oh, you didn't.
I tried that.
Oh, bad news. Yeah, Houston, we have a problem.
Right. And plus, like, nobody wants to be swimming in your blood juice.
True. Okay, so I remember I was going to say about the book, what she says in the book that I was like, okay, I'm this kind of girl, is when in the book she's writing, and she's a scientist, it's from this book Lab Girl, and she's writing about, she's like not a girly girl. She doesn't do that. So when she was going into labor, anytime she had a hospital appointment or a doctor's appointment, she would see the woman who would come in to help her, and she goes, I looked at her, and she wasn't wearing earrings, and I'm not wearing earrings either. And I noticed that it's odd that two women meet and neither of them are wearing earrings. Like she used earrings as like the symbol of like, well, we're in a world where you don't wear earrings because you're a doctor and you don't, because you got it. That could be a problem. And I'm a scientist and I don't wear earrings. And it just reminded me of the makeup thing of like, we're busy being scientists and saving lives. I'm not putting on earrings and I don't need that. And we're busy like collecting data in space. I don't need to put on any blush.
Like, it's what you said, too, where it's like, on one hand, they're trying. And that's really thoughtful.
They are trying.
But really out of touch.
Super. That's why it's so important to, like, like, having a diverse team, no matter what is important. Because the ways that we make, like, let's just take this as an example. Where you have people who are decision makers for what you're going to bring aboard, whatever that is, who are clearly not women, who are making decisions for this group off of what they think is best.
Yeah.
And they're so out of touch. And this is a really easy example because it's easy to go men, women. But if you think about this for people who are making decisions like with anything else, oh, well, here's how we address the situation with our, ethnically diverse student population and making sure that their needs are met. Yeah, well, you don't know because you're not the people who are making decisions. Like there needs to be more collaboration and more like asking of questions and being curious rather than telling people how it is or what they're going to do.
It does feel like exhausting.
Yeah.
Where I'll hear these stories and I'm just like, I'm so tired. I'm tired of having to tell, so-and-so, this is not okay, or women deserve this, or whatever it is. Sometimes you just don't want to fight all the time.
Yeah, but you got to remember that we're like making progress, because I feel like I used this example the other day when I was talking to a guy, kind of like talking about the Me Too movement, and, he was like, well, it's like hashtag not all men kind of thing. And like saying like, well, what about intention and all this? And, I don't mean to be doing whatever that is. And I'm like, okay, well, if you were to watch a movie like Animal House right now, I guarantee you would cringe
That's a
at
good
some
point.
of the things that are on there. When they made that movie, that was not their intention, but now we know more. The same way you look back in history and slave owners were like, there was a time where that was like how it was, and then they were like, wait a second, this is not okay. And then it took a long time before they even figured it out, and they still don't have it all figured. So it's like we learn, and you can't, like, we're making progress, and we are, but you like, we kind of have to go to the extremes to make up for, balance out.
The arc bends towards justice, though, hopefully.
Yeah.
And
he got it too. Which was
good.
great. And he appreciated having his voice heard.
Yeah.
And we were talking, there was this wonderful woman on Bill Maher a couple weeks ago, and she was saying often when people are like, we need to have a dialogue, it's really just a monologue that you have to either agree with or disagree with.
Yeah.
And he was like, this was great because this is a dialogue where like I listened, he shared, and he left, I think, knowing more than he came in with.
That's all you can ask.
It's all you can ask. And I said, thank you for just taking the time to ask the questions, and I'm so sorry that people before were like shutting you off or not letting you be, but that comes from a long history of fighting this. And when you get the woman who gets upset for that one comment, she's not necessarily getting mad at just you in that comment, but also all the other men who have ever made that comment to her or something like that you remind her of. And like, remember that. So.
And remember that even though Sarah's drinking wine, I am not, because I have been having headaches. So this morning, Adam made me my liquid IV.
Oh, good.
To hydrate.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, he should work for them, because he's always pushing it.
What do they call them? Like an ambassador.
Yeah.
He needs to be a liquid IV ambassador.
Yes, because, and he's right. I did feel better afterwards, because liquid IV is this electrolyte mix that you can put into your water, and it hydrates you at 2 to 3 times faster than water alone. So you're getting a lot more bang for your buck. And who wants to drink 50 things of
We
water?
took him to Colorado with us because it's higher elevation.
Yeah.
And there is actually a sign at the bar we went to that said one drink here equals 2 drinks down there. Make sure you hydrate. And I was like, don't worry, Landon. I brought 8 of them for our 4-day trip. Should have brought more.
Wow.
We were drinking those. Like, that's all we were like pounding them.
Yeah. And it helps.
It totally helped. 100%.
And now they have the ones for sleep, and he really likes those too.
What?
They're great for his
I
night
gotta
drink.
order this.
Yeah, Sarah's going on her phone right now.
This is what I do.
It's great for travel or just, kids. They have great flavors, so your kids would like them. It's way better than the sugary sports drinks and all that stuff we're usually given to people or drinking ourselves. We love Liquid IV. We know you will too. Right now, our listeners get 25% off at liquidiv.com when you use our code BRAIN at checkout. That's 25% off anything you order on Liquid IV's website. Go to liquidiv.com and enter promo code BRAIN to get your savings and start getting better hydration. That's liquidiv.com, promo code BRAIN. Don't wait. Get hydrated today. I have to tell you that I read an article, and I think maybe you were accidentally racist on the show.
Oh, please tell me.
Yeah,
I love to correct any ways that I was.
I know. At the time, I didn't think of it, but when I read this article, I thought, So it was an op-ed in the New York Times, and it was, I think the title was "Stop Calling Asian Women Adorable." And
Marie Kondo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she is.
She is fucking adorable, though.
Right.
It didn't matter what ethnicity or diverse background she comes from.
Yeah.
She's so cute.
I know.
But I totally get it. It's the same way I feel about calling Latin women fiery or feisty or anything. And okay, I get it.
Yeah. So the article was saying that they could be on a panel talking about their Nobel Prize, and someone will be like, "You are cute as a button."
Okay, I hate that.
Or you're adorable, or you're a pixie, which I think
Yeah.
Did you call her? No, you called her a fairy.
Yeah, she's like a little... But, like, when you see her jumping off the stairs like that, and, like, I can't help but picture her with fairy wings.
I know. She's a very good example because as soon as you see her, that's the instinct.
But there are... Let me tell you, I have traveled a lot in Asian countries, and I don't think like that about everybody I meet.
Are some of your best friends Asian?
I'm never going to use that line ever.
No, right.
But
so you feel that this was just because she happens to be adorable.
But I will absolutely take
it on board.
And say there 100% could have been times where I have said that or done that, with a lot of things, and for sure.
I would, if I were an Asian woman, I imagine I would be equally furious and writing op-eds as well, because I have never walked in their shoes, so I don't know what it's like.
Right.
But according to the article, even when you say you have such beautiful, like, alabaster skin or something like that, you're objectifying that person and reducing them to just something to look at or to entertain you or whatever, and that it's not great. So we'll have to adjust.
I was watching it's that show I love with Killer Mike. I can't remember what it's called. Trigger Warning. I was watching it, and he was talking about having a black Jesus, and he was like, it's really interesting that, black people, like, worship this white guy, and then if you, like, think about him as being African-American, or, like, not African-American, being of darker skin, all of a sudden the black community's like, no, you can't do that. And so he found...
Really?
Well, specifically this one preacher that he went... He's, like, an evangelical, very famous, I guess, pastor or whatever they call them. But he had a really hard time accepting the concept of, like, a black Jesus. And so Killer Mike's like, well, I'm going to start my own religion. I'm going to have my own deity, and he's going to be black, and blah, 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 blah. And so he's interviewing all of these, and he starts his whole church, and he calls it, like, the Church of Sleep. And he's like, and then he interviews Ariana Huffington, and he gets down to the point, like, what do we need to... Like, what will help? She's like, sleep. Sleep is at the essence of everything. So he started this all based on sleep. And, like, part of the church service, you have to take a nap. And then he interviews everybody afterwards. And they're like, yes, I felt amazing. And it really, like, gave him all the good feelings that church would.
Oh,
and,
wow.
Yeah, it was so good. It's such a great episode. But he interviews them. And one woman said, I'm just so tired. I'm tired of having to be the strong black woman. I don't want to be that. Why? People say, like, can I just be? Can I just be enough? And, like, fighting this whole... And that kind of reminded me of the thing of they're adorable or they're fiery or whatever, and like how we think, oh, strong black woman, that's such a great term to call them, but really it's putting this pressure of, like, you now have to be strong, you can't be weak. And that's insane to put on somebody, because everybody has moments of vulnerability and weakness, and that is what makes us strong. And so, like, she was just tired of all that and felt like the freedom to, be who she was or say that in this group, and that just reminded me of that. So people should check that episode out.
People can be anchored in a bad way to the stereotype that's assigned to them.
Yeah, even if it's seen as a positive one, because it's still putting you in this box. It's still saying, like, a label that you are this, and it doesn't give people room to be a human.
Can you think of a gendered word that you're referred to as? I know what mine would be.
I think that I would be called... I mean, the only one I can think is, like, bubbly.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, for me?
Well, for me.
For you, yeah.
But
bubbly.
for women in general, that it's a positive... People say it as a compliment, like, you're so bubbly. But they have never said that to a dude. And
there's one that my husband used with women who were very powerful that I, like, kind of called him out on, or, like, showed him what that is. I'm trying to think of what it is. She's a real... It's not like ball buster. It's another battle axe. She's a real battle axe. And I was like, would you ever use that expression with a man? He's like, probably not.
Really? Wonder why that's gendered. That's weird.
I know, but battle axe is... And I was like, it's very obvious you're talking about a woman every time you say that. And it's like, I don't know. And it seems like a positive one.
Yeah.
But... I only heard him say it like referencing women, and it just made me go, what's that about?
Yeah, I mean, language is powerful,
Yeah.
and we get into habits that we don't even probably think about. And I've certainly called people bubbly. No men.
Correct.
But I have called people that.
Yeah.
And it is a compliment,
Oh, my
but
God.
it's loaded.
I recently found out what my nickname was at school with the cohort before they really got to know me, and maybe still today. And I was like, oh,
Tracy Flick.
no, question girl. And I don't even care. And then I defended myself.
Am furious.
Yeah. Question girl.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. But I'm fine with I'm fine with it because I did ask a lot of questions. But here's my argument for why.
What the fuck?
I pay a lot of money to go to that school. Pay a lot of money per semester. And I've done the math, and it's like $400 to $800 each class that I sit in. So you bet your ass I'm asking $400 worth of questions. And if you got a problem with it, I feel like you're not getting your dollar's worth.
I cannot believe that they called you that. It's not even a clever name, by the way.
Right, question girl. But if I were a superhero,
I mean,
it
it'd
would
be
be
amazing. Be like the Joker, or no, the Riddler.
The uniform designs itself, right?
Yeah, you just are the female Riddler.
Yeah, it's great. Question girl. Oh my God, that is a cool.
I know, it's not a bad thing.
Right. I'm kind of loving it.
I cannot believe they admitted this to you.
Well, yeah, it was like, and because
Why are you so nice about it?
I was openly admitting that I don't know what we were talking about.
Of
like,
you know what I
asking,
called you?
like knowing the intention of like why you're asking a question in class, and like if you're asking to teach everybody something or asking to learn something. And I was very open and honest with when I first got into the program, I was definitely asking to tell people what I knew, and I became aware of that, and it changed how I ask questions, how frequently I ask questions. And then when I was openly talking about that, this person was like, oh yeah, we used to call you question girl. And I was like, so I was already admitting and talking about that, and it wasn't like this was, and I didn't, and okay, if that's the worst, once again, if the worst thing people say about me is like
that you're inquisitive.
Yeah, go ahead. You could call me that.
It could be worse.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Tell the people what you decided, because you know how you use our code sometimes.
Yeah.
And you were sore after
Yes.
you went snowboarding.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she decided she maybe needed to
Yep.
kick up the old
'cause
workouts.
Believe it or not, you think, oh, sore, like that's uncomfortable, but it felt good.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, right, my bot, and I felt so good afterwards. I wanted to keep the train rolling, and I feel like my butt has like disappeared. Like gravity all of a sudden hit, and I'm like, where did it go?
Too.
For
Oh my
real.
God.
It was like overnight. I'm like, I used to have a juicy booty, and now it's a pancake booty.
Mine is the worst. I put on a pair of shorts the other day, and I was like, oh, there's my mother in my ass.
That's how I felt. I
It's
was like,
not
oh my
good.
God, it's like, no, I can't. So I was like, I am on mission, get the booty back. And so I am doing the 10, and I was like, I got to go start slow. So I found one
This
program.
is OpenFit, by the way.
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Yeah. I sent my code 303030 to OpenFit. That's what it is still, right?
Yes,
Okay,
brain
good. I'm just
candy.
making sure. And I started the 10-minute a day, like it's like 10-minute for fitness. I just sorted by what is the shortest
Yeah, that's
length
what
of
I used
time.
to do.
Because I'm like, I got to go. And let me tell you, I was sore after the booty, and I'm going to just keep doing it because my brother said 100 days of consistency will give you exactly, like that will be your result. 100 days.
Doable.
It's 3 months.
Is it the one you're doing called 600 Seconds? Is that what it's
No,
called?
it's a different one.
Okay.
Yeah, it's with like that guy who's real popular. I have to find out, but
They have one called 600 Seconds, and I like that because it makes it feel like you can handle it. You got 600 seconds.
yeah, that's doable.
But if you guys want to join us, because I too use OpenFit, and it's changed the way we work out, and you can use our code Brain Candy on our fitness journey, personalized just for you. That's Brain Candy. Start using OpenFit for your journey to a healthier life. And they are having an OpenFit 30-day challenge. Our listeners get a special extended 30-day free trial membership to OpenFit, where you can lose up to 15 pounds in 30 days. When you text Brain Candy to 303030, you will get full access to OpenFit, all the workouts and nutritional information totally free. Again, Brain Candy to 303030. I like that you use our codes.
All the time.
Because, you know.
I go on the website and I go to that page and I look it up. Yeah. I'm like, oh, what else do I need? Okay. And it's like, it's
I try to keep them all on the website, which is thebraincandypodcast.com, so that, because, you know, people forget, and I want them to be able to find it.
Yeah,
so
man.
try to keep that updated.
Yeah, man.
Okay, what else is on my list? I did see a funny tweet today about how, you know how Fred Flintstone...
I love it already.
He uses his feet.
Yes.
And they're like, why doesn't he just walk to work? He's essentially carrying his car.
That's such a good point.
And it just cracked me up. And then she wrote underneath, thanks for everyone in this thread who's mansplaining me about how Fred Flintstone's car works. Like, it's just a joke. But I think
it's
a lot
great
of dudes
joke.
were like, actually, his feet propel it.
You know what? My instinct was to Sarah explain you that. Actually, it makes sense. It's kind of like...
Well, because what's your take on how it works?
You know those feet-propelled boats that you, like, pedal and it works?
Oh, yeah.
That his feet... Well, his feet are running on the ground, though.
I believe they are.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah.
Like
an object in motion, Newton's law.
Okay, yeah, because somebody was like, it's called wheels.
Yeah.
Like, it has wheels.
Right.
It's like a scooter.
Yeah, so it's a scooter. He's scooting.
So you're still going to go faster than if
Yes.
you just walked.
Right.
But you wouldn't have to carry a car.
Correct.
I mean, he's not carrying
It's
it.
real funny, though. That's a clever and hilarious tweet. And I don't like when people try to, like, break down a joke for, like, if it's funny, just let it be funny.
Yeah.
And don't try to, like...
Obviously, I
break
agree.
it down and be like, well, here's why. And did that really happen to you? Well, no, but for the story, I needed it to.
What do you think it is that makes somebody feel like because they're ruining it, really?
Yeah.
But they don't think they are. They think they're adding to it. Who are these people? Do you think it's mostly dudes, or are they getting a bad rap here?
I don't know. It'd be hard to say.
Do you know women like this, though? Would be like, well, actually...
I feel like it falls in the same category as the women who try to, like, tell other mothers what they're doing wrong.
Fuck them.
I watched my new favorite show, P.S., Blackish. Have you seen that show?
No.
It is so good, and everybody should be watching it, and I can't stop, and it's the funniest show on television, and the most informative and, like...
Woke.
Totally. I'm like, everybody just needs to be watching Blackish. It's the best show ever, and that's it. But no, in the show, the mom, Tracy Ellis Ross, Diana Ross's daughter.
Love her.
Love her. She's
awesome.
so amazing. I follow her on Instagram, and she's a great follow. She has the best wardrobe. On the show, too. Anyways, I'm getting carried away. So she joins this mom group online, and at first she's like, it's great. They all understand, and they all know how I feel. And then it turned into... everybody judging her for everything she did, and it was like, your kids have too much time with the devices and all this stuff. And then she, like, is a doctor, and they were trying to tell her that she's with the vaccines and, like, how she shouldn't be doing that, and then called her, like, a murderer. And she was like, what? And then she, like, tried to defend with science, and then, like, that didn't work. And she's like, that's it.
Yeah,
I'm out of
you can't
here.
win.
Yeah, she's like, I'm done with this. And pulled the ripcord.
If we go to a restaurant and we're just all talking or coloring or whatever, oftentimes the server will compliment us for not using an iPad with Lincoln. Even that I don't like, because sometimes he uses an iPad, and including at restaurants, depending on where we are, what we're doing, and what we've done that day. Yeah. And I don't like that we're saying this is an appropriate way to let your kid be at a restaurant.
Because he doesn't know, they don't know how long, like, what the rules are in your house.
Right. So even when they're being nice, it kind of makes me feel, don't comment.
Yeah.
They mean well, but I just feel like you don't know. And some kids might have special needs, etc.
Totally.
And need certain whatever.
Oh, that's a really good point.
Just zip your lip.
Yeah.
That is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Zip it.
I have a friend who said one of the most insightful, smart things. She's from LA and recently moved to Orange County. And she's a little bit older than me. She's probably like 45 or so. And she was, like, I don't know, with all the moms at school or something like that where she was in a social setting with people that she just didn't know that well, but were, like,
acquaintances.
Acquaintances, people that she lived near. And in an attempt, she said, like, it was an attempt for the other person to, like, you know, try to find some common ground or get to know or whatever, but came to her with a piece of gossip of like, did you hear about da-da-da?
I love when people do that, by the way.
And her response was, before you continue, is this a person who needs any help with anything? Or is there anything that we can do to help her? Is this something that we need to take action on? And the other person was like, well, no. She's like, then I'm not interested in hearing it. And I was like, damn, that's so good. You're the best. I was like, I'm going to take a page out of that book.
You're going to do that?
Well, I mean, if I can sense that
me.
it was like, right. Susie's like, I can't wait for the gossip. But she knew what was coming. And she was like, I'm not about to go down this road with these people or open the door to meet like them thinking that the only thing I care about is what's going on with the other moms in this. I'm going to nip it in the bud before it starts.
That's respectable.
And I was like, okay.
It's very unusual though.
Yes, that's what I said. I was like, that is badass. And you have to be really confident in yourself and be able to be like, is this something that we can help with? Does she need help? Oh, she doesn't? You know what? I think that's something that's
wow.
on you know, her. And
I
if,
bet
if
that
it's
other
something
person
that we can
felt
help
like
with,
shit though.
Yep, and good for it.
Oh,
I'm fine
Sarah.
with that. Get it. So I love that.
The thing is, though, there is a culture of bonding that happens when you're sharing supposedly private information.
Yeah.
And it does serve sometimes to enhance a relationship, which is why we're all in the habit.
Right. But it's great if it's like, okay, say we're already established friends and then we have this friend over here and we're noticing some behavior from her and it's like, oh, did you see this? I really think maybe she needs to get help. Oh, but she's kind of resistant to it. Oh, but you know, there's something in there where maybe we as friends can do something or like, oh, she needs maybe we should reach out, whatever it is. But for some rando stranger that you don't know, like...
To try to like ingratiate themselves to you.
Totally.
By shitting on someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She could smell it a mile away and she's like, I'm having none of this.
I respect that.
I do too.
But I also really like gossip, so please share it with me.
It's so true.
Yeah, I get that. Also, if you ship a lot of stuff, you should get this, which is stamps.com.
Yeah.
It is. She's saying it.
You know what's funny is I got my scale in the mail.
Yeah.
Because I signed up and
she used our code.
I totally did.
Yeah.
I got the mail, but I hadn't opened it or busted it out yet.
Yeah.
And I just recently like found that box again and opened it. And then I announced to Landon, hey, also I bought like the sticker stamps.
Yeah.
Because he's always like, hey, can you go to the post office to get stamps? Not a problem anymore. I showed him how to use it. I'm like, here are the labels. You can print it.
You're making him do it.
Hands off. And now I don't have any more responsibility.
Does he like it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Of course. He was like, oh, you're going to, and the best thing he said, you're going to have to show me how it works and get me. And I just logged on.
Sarah's never been happier.
Never been happier. I was like, oh, yes, I can. Boop, boop, beep, boop, boop. There you go.
It's so convenient. And it really is great. Like if you have a husband that's doing what Sarah, or a wife or whatever, and you can outsource this work.
Yep.
Now, and it's easy, so they won't even mind. Stamps.com brings all the services of the U.S. Postal Service right to your computer, your desk, your office, wherever you are. And you just print out that postage, put it on the letter, package, any class of mail.
Like regular stamps.
Yeah.
Like the ones that you
go,
go,
you know how you've been putting a stamp on
those?
things?
Yeah.
You can do that with anything.
Easy.
And right now our listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale that Sarah loves without any long-term commitment. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in Brain Candy. That's Stamps.com and enter Brain Candy. Sarah.
Yes.
We have a guest.
Woo! I love a guest.
You will love this guy. His name is Matt Richtel, and he wrote a book called An Elegant Defense, The Extraordinary New Science of the Immune System.
We need this with all those superbugs out there.
It's so great. And you would think, okay, what do I need to know about the immune system? This is going to be like dense and boring. It isn't at all. It was so informative, and I keep bringing it up to Adam because we were talking about how he calls it an elegant defense because if you think about your immune system, it is a really miraculous. Yeah. Like as soon as you get a cut, your body goes into action to fix it and help you heal and all of that. But if your immune system is underperforming or overperforming.
As mine is with folliculitis.
Yes.
Yep. My immune system goes, ooh, a hair? That's definitely a foreign invader. Attack the hair follicle. I'm like, no, chill out, dude. You're overperforming.
Yeah, or if you have allergies.
Yes.
Or like Crohn's disease, where your body can't handle gluten. That's where your body's like attacking stuff that is harmless.
Yeah.
But regardless, he describes what's cooking in your body So you get the science, but it's also it's called An Elegant Defense, but it's a tale in 4 lives. So he describes what 4 people are going through. And I learned so much about AIDS.
Oh, interesting.
How that changed the world in terms of like science and how people understood how the body worked. We kind of didn't know what was going on.
Wow.
And then people were getting sick with this thing that wasn't cancer. There was no disease. It was symptoms. And when symptoms are all you've got.
It's all an attack of the immune system. That's exactly. Oh my God. Because your white blood cell count and all that.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I learned so much, and I really came to appreciate his storytelling. He's a Pulitzer Prize winning writer. I was like, you're super fancy.
Yeah.
Like, you're amazing. But it's just really great storytelling, but also you learn a lot. So I would encourage anybody. A lot of people have autoimmune issues.
Yep.
A lot of people don't know why their body's acting weird. Some people have like fibromyalgia and all that stuff where I'm like, is that real?
Yeah.
And he breaks down what's really going on in their body. It's really fascinating.
Sometimes I think I have that. Because I get weird internal pains that feel like they're like in my bone. Like, and sometimes it happens if I don't work out regularly.
That's interesting because they say that one of the things they recommend for people with that is exercise and nutrition.
And I notice that when I'm not, I can feel it more. And it's like at night too.
Well, and women are the invisible victims of all this because we're all like, hey, my body hurts. And they're like, I don't know what that is. So you mustn't have anything.
Didn't know I had endometriosis until I was 20. No, how old am I? 32. And like last year. And that I had an upside down and mobile uterus.
Upside down?
Yeah, it's inverted and mobile, like not attached to anything.
Oh my God.
Which apparently isn't as rare as you think. It's 1 in 6 women.
Is he floating around in there?
Huh. Right.
See,
upside down.
It's because you're so bubbly.
Probably.
Just floating.
But like, wouldn't that,
That is
we don't
right.
know.
We don't know.
And I had been dealing with it, and then I saw the commercial where it was like, do you have pain? You should tell your doctor and speak up. And so I did, and they were like, oh yeah, let's check you for that. Oh yeah, you have that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, good thing I spoke up because I've been suffering in silence since I was 15 and thought this was just like, that we just get bad periods and that just last forever, and this is just what the family gets.
Yeah, it's like a life sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not true.
Well, and he does a great job of saying, it doesn't just feel like, well, this is what happens, so now you know. It's empowering because it's here's what you can do.
Does he say bite your nails helps?
Yeah.
Good. I knew it.
Yes, it does.
It's the only thing holding me.
Because we've over-sanitized.
Yes.
Basically, companies were like, how can we sell more bleach? Mm-hmm. Oh, I know. Scare the shit out of people.
Make germs the enemy.
Yeah.
Right.
But really, we should be playing in the dirt. Yeah. We should be picking our nose and eating it.
Ooh, I definitely did that when I was little.
Biting our nails, things like that actually help your immune system because I was telling Adam, like, when you go to another country, that they drink the water there and they don't get sick, but you aren't used to those.
I learned that the hard way in Peru. Oh my God, that was the worst.
What do they call that? Montezuma's
revenge. Yeah. Everyone on our trip got it. It was so bad.
And then you hit your goal weight.
Yep.
But anyway.
One flew away from a target weight. That's awful.
Please read An Elegant Defense, The Extraordinary New Science of the Immune System, and enjoy my interview with Matt Richtel. He's a delight.
I can't wait to hear what he keeps in the trunk of his car.
Yes, I asked him. All right. Welcome, Matt. Matt, thank you so much for coming on the Brain Candy podcast. I loved your book. I have so many questions.
Well, I will try to answer them, and when I can't, I'm just going to cough uncomfortably and redirect, and then feign my own death.
It's okay. I'll kill dead air. It's fine.
Perfect.
First of all, let's talk about how you're super fancy and have a Pulitzer, and I want to know, like, okay, so you get the Pulitzer, and then you're like, either I'm awesome and everyone can suck it and I do whatever I want, or you feel like all this pressure to be amazing again. What was it like for you?
Truthfully, okay, let's get it out of the way. I mean, I'm huge, obviously.
Obviously.
Dauntingly awesome. I actually get into it in this book in some ways when I talk about my own personal reckoning, but I made peace with myself probably in my early 30s, and the result of that was that I I'm not as driven by external things as I once was. Mm-hmm. And it's been a huge blessing in that, for instance, it gets me onto shows and lets me share my writing with other people. But but I don't view myself any differently, and the muse that drives me was not changed by that. It only created more for me to do what I like doing, but I kid you not, it's not a defining facet of me in my own mind.
Really?
Yeah, I swear to you. But listen, I hit a real. I mean, this book is a lot about the immune system's a lot about self and self-acceptance. When I say that, I had a pretty rough go of it in my 20s when I confronted, the realities of life. And so it's a hard-earned kind of self-acceptance that I wound up with. And I truly answer you, it's not my defining characteristic. I mean, my great looks are, and my biceps, obviously.
Right. But you try to stay humble.
I only have one bicep.
That's all you need. That's all you need. Well, those parts of the book, though, were my favorite when you were describing your own experiences, because I think that you represent a lot of folks these days who, as you put in the book, are always on and there's all this stress. Yeah. And then you said that you gave yourself permission to relax, and I thought that was really insightful.
It's a very hard I mean, I imagine listeners are saying, what in the world does this have to do with the immune system? But it actually has everything to do with the immune system, because there are some, I'm sure we'll get into this, but there are only so many levers you can pull on in your life. And one of them is gaining a level of, or giving yourself permission to relax, let go, and to let your body do what it would naturally do. And in a very competitive world in which we're raised oftentimes to please, it can be hard to do that. It takes. I mean, it's a grueling process for many people. It was for me.
Well, and you acknowledge that the system of the world with social media and just the kind of bizarre ways that millennials work as well, where there's no boundaries between leisure and, making a living, can really do damage to your body. Did that surprise you to learn, or you always felt like you knew that?
Well, I mean, I knew that from trial and error myself, but the extent to which it has an impact, and more importantly, the underlying science, were a surprise to me. Because the connections between our behavior and our health, with the immune system as the mediator, are super, super clear. And that was new to me. The power of the immune system, or to put it another way, the immune system is the river that runs through health, longevity, happiness, sanity in certain ways. And I don't think I understood the extent that we can modulate that through our behavior.
Do you think that a big reason why we are misinformed about it is because of this weird marketing thing where they're making us scared of bacteria and such? Well,
I would say let's just talk about marketing in general, because it winds up being a big part of the ways the formulations we have of the world. And it's interesting. Someone asked me at a book reading the other night, is this are these big evil companies doing X and Y and Z? I tend to think of the marketing messages we get as being outgrowths of things that we find palatable in the first place. And what I mean is that, let's just take the high. I'll give you two examples, both relevant to what we're talking about here. One is around hygiene, and one is around being always on. We evolved in an environment that was pretty darn scary from the standpoint of germs and pathogens. And I even quote in the book in Exodus, there's something about ritual hand washing, and you have really deeply held cultures and habits from certain religions about not eating, say, pork or beef. Mm-hmm. I would suspect those came from, real fears about hygiene and getting sick and dying and having no antibiotics, no clean water. And so when you see these marketing messages, they grow out of some deep-seated primitive fears. And what tends to happen in society, and as my observation now, when I say obnoxious, like mansplaining sentences, like what happens, it's worse than mansplaining. It's matsplaining. But when I say that, it's only because I'm old. But I think what has happened to us, we're in a really interesting period where we are dealing with the overcorrections that we have made in response to some deeply primitive problems that face the human species. And I can give you lots of examples. We brought in processed foods to deal with the need for more calories, but we overcorrected and created Doritos, and now we have obesity as a rampant problem. And similarly, let's take so just to go back to hygiene for a second. Mm-hmm. Before I go into the specifics of it, I will tell you why the overcorrection is a problem. But I want to give one other example to go back to what you were just talking about being always on. The marketing of our cell phones and our devices plays to a primitive fear that we could fall behind, that we need to be in touch, that we will lose out economically. And so there's been a huge push that plays to a deep-seated fear, and we are overcorrecting by being always on all the time in a way that's detrimental to our health, our relationships, and other things. So that's what I mean when I say we've overcorrected, and I think what's happening in a lot of circles, unfortunately this tends to be an have and have-nots issue, but in educated circles, people are beginning to address the overcorrection.
Well, and so what do you think the future will hold? How will this rebound?
Well, I think it's rebounding. I think that what is happening and what has happened over the course of human history, about which I tend to be fairly optimistic, is that we correct and we refine, and sometimes we go way too far in a particular direction, whether culturally, economically, militarily, but we do have a pretty good instinct for survival and a capacity to find the lanes that are safe. Mm-hmm. And so I think in some ways this book, I don't want to single out this book, but this book is among those kinds of efforts. This is an effort to educate people about the immune system, which turns out to have been misrepresented in many ways. And, through the blessing of my experience and my, through years of doing this and the Pulitzer Prize and the New York Times connection, I was able to interview the immunologists who sit at the mountaintop, and I've tried to sort of lay out a more nuanced version of what the immune system is and how we can handle it. And I think that's what lots of journalists and podcasters and writers and others are trying to do right now. So that's where I think it plays out broadly over time.
Well, that's why I thought your book was so brilliant, is because you're obviously, fancy Pulitzer, but you're not an expert in that field. And yet you were able to make this palatable to people like me who had no idea what was cooking in our body. And I wonder why you didn't feel intimidated, or did you, to tackle the topic?
Oh, gosh, absolutely. It's just that I think I don't. Well, you'll have to tell me what drives you and your creativity. But for me, when I get inspired about something, I tend not to view it as obstacles. I view them as puzzles or challenges I'm inspired to untangle. And so while it may be hard, I guess I don't really view it that way. I think to myself, well, in part because this is hard, it probably means there's an opportunity to really untangle it for people. And then where I become extremely excited is, can I do this with such compelling storytelling that someone would enjoy, not just slog through, but genuinely enjoy reading about a topic like this?
Yes.
And that just lights a fire beneath me.
Well, you did such a great job. And I mean, I hope you have that sense. It's complete and now people are consuming it. Do you feel that sense of like, I did it?
You know, I have been getting some really amazing notes lately. And it's made me wonder if this is, I mean, I've written a number of books, and my last nonfiction book has been really well received, and I tried to do something similar in that book around attention science. But I have noticed with the notes I've gotten that with this book that I seem to be connecting very much with readers, and it makes me realize that there is no substitute for experience. And each time you undertake something as you get better, I suppose it's possible that this really may be one where I connected with readers in a way that I guess that drove me to try to do.
That's really special. Don't you feel so great?
It beats the alternative.
I mean, no joke. I am so impressed.
Oh, well, I'll say this. First of all, thank you from the bottom of my heart for saying it. I do feel very blessed. I've got healthy kids and a wonderful wife and a dog I like to cuddle with, and a cat who's annoying but palatable.
And a bicep.
And I mean, one gnarly, huge bicep, and then just empty space on the other side. It's very curious.
So, whenever I was thinking about A Deadly Wandering and how it deals with, the consequences of distraction and attention, do you feel in any way like this book is in a similar vein?
I mean, I feel like it's in a similar vein in that the effort is to try to tell a story that readers would find compelling and pay them off with some understanding about themselves and their world that is both novel and relevant, and truly relevant to their lives. Like, I don't believe I'm entitled to anyone's attention, and in that respect, I think there's something that drives me to be a compelling narrator, but also that pays people off. I don't know. You tell me. Do they seem similar to you?
I thought that the essence of the behaviors that we embrace, whether consciously or not, have huge effects on our safety and well-being. And I thought you did such a great job in this book of saying, some things feel like we have no power over them, but here, it was an empowering message that you gave, because you said, here are things you can do to make your life better. And who doesn't want that advice?
I think I'm struck. Someone said to me, a good friend of mine who's one of the best writers in the world for my money, said to me, after he read this, he said, I really appreciate that you were dissatisfied with the surface level answers. Mm-hmm. And the reason I mention that is we have a lot of challenges societally. I think we always have. But I think sometimes we can get into screaming matches without recognizing some of the underlying fundamentals that drive us, whether it's political divides, relationship divides. And And there's something you just said about the subconscious thing or the primitive levels really entrances me, because I think to get at solving our issues, whatever those are, however you want to define them, it really helps to understand the underlying mechanism. And so I find that really compelling to learn about, and ideally, if I've done it right, to elucidate for readers.
Well, and you had your own experience at a younger age, but now you're exploring it for the book. And I'm wondering, you knew a lot already, but did you change your mind about anything whilst you were writing it?
Oh my gosh, so much. This is. There were so many eye-opening pieces, and I think there are a couple images that stick with me. I didn't put this in the book, but it's you can feel for anybody who winds up reading it. I think you'll see what I'm getting at. Do you remember the movie The Matrix?
Yeah.
So remember all the ones and zeros that wound up. The characters realized, who could see what was around them, that there was this invisible world of digits, of ones and zeros. Of computer code. Well, one of the things that really opened my eyes and has changed how I think about us in the world and the world itself is that we are surrounded by microbes. If you look on your computer, your microphone, your podcasting equipment, your pen, your desk, your arm, your gut, there are microbes everywhere. You are surrounded by proverbial ones and zeros. And the reason that is so important to me as a fundamental notion is that it explains the kind of world that an immune system or a defense network must exist inside of. And so let me just pause there. Does that just general world conception make sense?
Yeah, I'm into that.
You're into that? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, because otherwise I was going to have to show my bicep.
Right. I'm into that
build
too.
another one. If you could just pause while I build up the other bicep, I'm going to be super intimidating.
It'll just take a minute.
All right, done. Now, unfortunately, I have no hamstring. It just moved. So the relevance of that to the immune system is, if you think about the world in which our defense network evolved, it evolved in a world where it had to be so sensitive to microbes everywhere, and most of those microbes would do us no harm. So a huge part of the job of the immune system is in the decision-making process, not in the police state attack process. It is, I think of the immune system now much less as a zealous police state and much more as the love child of a bouncer and a ballet dancer. and which obviously would be a smoking hot. Yeah, go on. Tell me more. Do you have video?
Right. Pictures or it didn't happen.
What kind of filthy show is this?
You come to the right place, let's face it.
All right. So anyway, okay, they walk in this room, right? It's sultry. There's a bed shaped as a giant heart. So I think of it as a bouncer and a ballet dancer, and really the job of the immune system, rather than just going crazy with attack and brawling, is to identify really dangerous things and then attack them with as little violence as necessary to get the job done, and so as to do preserve two things. One is our relationship, our cooperative relationship with all the other microbes in the world and in our bodies. And two is to do as little damage to our own tissue in the process. And that is why a huge part of the immune system, like imagine that there's thousands of molecules in the immune system, many more than we've ever identified at this point. But a huge number of them are tailored to put the brakes on the immune system, to cause it to slow down rather than attack. That's a major new conception for me.
Right. And confusing to most people, I would think.
And confusing except for this. I think most people are awakening to it. No, not most people. Sorry, I retract that. Some people are awakening to the fact that an overly aggressive immune system, and here I'm talking not only about pure autoimmune disorders, although those are really serious and on the rise, but things like fatigue, low-grade fever, pain, those are actually as much a function of a little bit imbalanced immune system, meaning a little too much inflammation, as it is, as that owes as much to that as it does to some outside pathogen.
Right. And don't you think that's what's so confusing for folks is that, and including doctors who are looking at these symptoms and being like, well, there's no foreign agent, so we don't know.
So we don't know. And that's why I refer especially to the women who have suffered disproportionately through history with autoimmune disorders for a variety of reasons, is that as the invisible women, how frustrating can it be, must it be, is it, when you know your stomach hurts, you know your joints hurt, you know you're fatigued and can't get out of bed, and someone says, yeah, but you got nothing. Mm-hmm. No. And my answer is, just because it's invisible doesn't mean it's any less real. It's invisible only because there's no pathogen or virus or bacteria that's causing it, but you are attacking yourself, and you are just as dangerous and arguably more dangerous to you than is any outside force.
How did you...
Good.
No, go ahead.
I just want to give you a really interesting personal example that happened the last few days. And my wife happens to be a doctor, and we have been vexed by this. So my book launched, I guess now 2 weeks ago yesterday, and went on NPR and the whole thing, and jumped to 16 on Amazon, and all this wonderful stuff started happening. And I got stressed. My immune system weakened for reasons that are explained in not this illness, but the relationship between stress and a weakened immune system. I got the flu. And it was a pretty gnarly 3 or 4 days that brought me up till about the middle of last week. And at that point, something really interesting and vexing happened. I think I was over the flu. I think it was purged from my body, but I was continuing to feel a lot of the feelings of fatigue and stomach upset. And I will tell you that my wife and I spent a lot of time wondering whether the pathogen had been cleared, and what I was then experiencing was only the after effects of inflammation. And the reason that question's important is it would go to dictate what behaviors I did after that. Do you resume a certain diet? Do you then go exercise because that's helpful in diminishing inflammation? These are really interesting questions that I think we're coming to terms with as a society, trying to understand, as Yeats put it and is quoted in the book, what is the dancer and what is the dance? What is the cause and what is the symptom?
Well, I'm so glad that you wrote the book, though, because I do think that the conversation is so important to have, and the more people that are talking about it, perhaps the better our results will be in figuring all this out.
I do hope that people, when they get the basic science, as I have, will begin to be able to make more informed decisions about their behavior.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned in the book, tweak your immune system at your own risk. There are consequences to the choices we make in regards to medicine as well. And that's something we don't often think about, I don't think.
No, I do think that especially these very, very powerful immune-centric medicines are on the market. They're about the best-selling medicines in the world, things like Humira and some of these immunotherapy drugs for cancer. They have some wondrous possibilities, but they also really monkey with the immune system. Your eyes should be fully wide open when you take these, and you should be again, here I'm matsplaining, excuse me, but this is what I would say to myself if I went to the doctor. Hey, Matt, I would matsplain to myself. Matt, ask all the hard questions. This is your body. You deserve answers.
Yeah, man. My grandma always said you got to be smarter than your doctor. So I feel like, we're on the same page.
Well, your grandma.
She knows stuff. We have one question that we ask everybody, and it is supposed to be indicative of where you are in your life. And that question is, what do you keep in the trunk of your car if you have a car?
Well, this will tell you where we are in our lives. We live in San Francisco, and we can't keep anything in the trunk because it will get stolen. But I will tell you the four things. There are four things I would take with me in the event of fire.
Let's hear it.
All right. I would take my tennis rackets.
Come on.
I would take my guitar.
Okay.
I would take my espresso maker and bean grinder. And I would take the dog.
Oh, that's nice.
I mean, I'm assuming the family is all in the.
Yeah, it's implicit.
But I think here's where I am in my life. I get a lot of peace out of exercise. I create like crazy, for better or worse, and that's my guitar. I love the dog, and what's the point of it all if you can't have a good latte?
Oh, that's true. But what are you playing on the guitar? What's your signature song there?
Well, my signature song are all ones I write myself, and if you want the one that got on the radio, I'll send it to you.
For real?
Yeah.
My God, you're a Renaissance man.
I'm a Renaissance Matt with one bicep.
Man, you're just full of surprises.
I write a lot of mediocre music, but occasionally it works out.
That's fantastic. I'm so glad I found that out. You're off the hook now. I just want everyone to read your book. I'm so excited for the audience to see how awesome you are. And I just can't wait to read your next thing. So pressure's on. What are you going to do for me? What are you going to make next?
Well, now that I know it's for you.
Yeah.
It's going to be. Okay, so I want you to picture this. There's a bouncer, okay,
yeah, right.
and a ballet dancer. All right,
I'm already writing the story in my mind.
Where do you want it set?
I'm going to really have to think about this. I'll get back to you.
You come up with your dream scenario here, and we'll work it out.
Yeah, we'll collaborate. This is our project together.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Matt. I appreciate your time. You're a delight. This podcast is brought to you by Wave Podcast Network. Check out all of our shows, including the Brain Candy Podcast, I Don't Get It, Coffee Convos, and Let's Talk About It.